Years ago, someone approached me and said that they applied for a job that they weren't qualified for. So, out of curiosity, I said, if you're not qualified, then why'd you apply? And if you get the job, what are you going to do? And the person said, no. I'm not qualified on paper for the job. But if I get the job, there's no doubt in my mind that I have the confidence that I can be successful at that job. I just need to be given a chance. In the beginning of Webdvar Shemini, all of Klal Yisrael, they're waiting for the Mishkan to go into service. And the very first thing that needs to happen is Aaron HaKohen, he has to start the Avoda, which began with him bringing an egel, with him bringing a calf as a korban chatas. And Moshe Rabbeinu first calls him and tells him, okay, start the service. And then we see a number of psukim later that Moshe says to him, Krav the Mizbeach, come close to the Mizbeach, go do it. Why did Moshe have to tell him twice? So Rashi explains to us that it wasn't so simple. That Aaron HaKohen, he was embarrassed and he was very hesitant to actually start and do the service in the Mishkan. So Moshe Rabbeinu says to him, why are you embarrassed? And listen to these two words. He says, Lekach nivcharta. For this you were chosen. And Rav Moshe Lev of Sasov Zecher Tzaddik Livracha says, think about those words. For this you have been chosen. He says, precisely, Aaron HaKohen, because you're embarrassed, that's why you were chosen. Well, why was he embarrassed? The entire entity of the Mishkan was a kapara, was an atonement for the Chet HaEgel, for the sin of the golden calf. And Aaron HaKohen had a part in making that Egel. That's why he was to bring the Egel, the first korban, as a kapara, as an atonement for his part in the making of the Chet HaEgel. So Aaron really felt out of place. He was embarrassed. And therefore Moshe says to him, no, it's okay. Why is it okay? Because L'kach nivcharta. You were chosen specifically because of the fact that you're humble, that you're embarrassed, that you recognize the bigger picture here. On the one hand, you're Aaron HaKohen, you have to be full of confidence. But on the other hand, Aaron HaKohen was also someone who understood what it meant to be humble. And both of these elements of his personality were needed in order for Aaron HaKohen to not only be the Kohen Gadol of Klal Yisrael, but really to lead Klal Yisrael in a very specific way of making shalom, making peace between people, between husband and wife. Aaron HaKohen was able to be who he was because, with confidence, he also had humility. And what a lesson for us about life. It's important for us that when we are asked to do something, when we take upon ourselves to give to others, we do so with a sense of confidence that we can be successful, but also balance it with that sense of humility. Lekach nivcharta, specifically because we can be humble. That's why we were chosen. And let us never forget that. Let us be confident and humble so that we can take that balance and be successful. May we apply this lesson to our lives. Thank you for listening and have a good Shabbos.